Frank Morgan slammed his palm on the table, making the water in his glass ripple. The blue-skinned Meridian representative across from him didn't even blink. "For the last time, the terms are unacceptable," Frank said. His voice stayed low, but every human in the room could hear the anger in it. "Earth will not give up mining rights to our own moon." The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council on Centauri Prime glowed with soft light from floating orbs above. The curved walls displayed moving star maps showing trade routes throughout the galaxy. At the center, the massive circular table seated representatives from 27 species. Humans had the smallest chairs. Zek Moore, the Vrax leader, rose to his full height. His scaled skin caught the light as he looked down at Frank. "Ambassador Morgan, your species has only been spacefaring for 3 centuries. The rest of us have been managing these systems for millennia. You would do well to accept guidance from your elders." Olivia Reeves stood behind Frank, her hand resting near her holstered weapon. As security chief for the human delegation, she watched the aliens closely. Something was off today. The Krell military officers in the corner seemed too alert, their gill slits pulsing quickly. The Meridian trade ministers kept exchanging glances. 3 centuries of space travel, Frank replied. "And yet you need our engineers to fix your jump gates." Curious, isn't it? President Eleanor Hayes had given Frank clear instructions before he left Earth. No more compromises. The Council had pushed humans too far. "You mistake necessity for respect, human," said Zek Moore. "Your species has certain, useful qualities. But the Council has determined that Earth's mineral resources would be better managed under Vrax supervision." Frank stood up slowly. All 12 members of the human delegation rose with him. "We've heard enough," he said. "For 30 years, we've tried to work as equal partners. You've taken our resources at unfair prices. You've blocked our colony ships. You've restricted our technology development while stealing our innovations." The Meridian representative's antennae twitched nervously. "Ambassador, perhaps we can negotiate." "No," Frank cut him off. "Earth is done negotiating. As of this moment, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council." A murmur ran through the chamber. This wasn't supposed to happen. Humans complained, but they always gave in eventually. As the delegation gathered their materials, Olivia noticed something strange. The aliens weren't angry. They were scared. "They know something," she whispered to Frank as they walked toward the exit. "Look at the Krell general. He's terrified." Frank nodded slightly but kept walking. The massive doors of the council chamber slid open before them. No one tried to stop them. Back on their ship, the Earth vessel Northern Star Alan Bennett waited with news. The chief scientist's eyes were bright with excitement as the delegation boarded. "It worked," he said as soon as the airlock sealed. "The fusion catalyst is stable. We can produce clean energy at 10 times the efficiency of anything in council space." Frank smiled for the first time in days. "They don't know, do they?" "No," Alan replied. "Our security held. The council still thinks we're dependent on their fuel supplies." As the Northern Star broke orbit around Centauri Prime, Frank looked at the view screen showing the glittering council headquarters shrinking behind them. "Set course for Earth," he told the pilot. "President Hayes needs to hear this immediately." In her private cabin, Olivia reviewed security footage from the council chamber. She froze on an image of the Vrax and Krell representatives talking when they thought no one was watching. Reading lips wasn't easy with alien mouths, but she caught one phrase from the Vrax leader. "They leave now, just before the void arrives." She didn't know what it meant, but she knew one thing for certain. Earth's withdrawal had come at exactly the right time, and for more reasons than they yet understood. 6 months passed quickly. Earth went quiet. All across the galaxy, communication channels with human colonies fell silent. Trade ships stopped arriving at alien ports. Human diplomats disappeared from embassies without warning. Even the usual chatter of human entertainment broadcasts ceased. On the Meridian trade hub, Zextala stared at empty docking bays, where human cargo ships used to unload their goods. His antennae drooped as he reviewed the latest reports. Factory production down 60%, he muttered to his assistant. Replacement parts for the atmospheric processors hadn't arrived. The humans made those. Similar scenes played out across Council space. Many alien civilizations had grown dependent on human goods and services without realizing it. Humans worked harder, adapted faster, and solved problems in ways other species couldn't match. Inside Earth's solar system, changes were happening. Commander William Daniels stood on the bridge of the Northern Light, Earth's newest warship. Through the viewport, he watched as 5 more vessels, like his, emerged from the shipyards, hidden inside Mercury's shadow. Status report, he called. His executive officer, Lisa Johnson, looked up from her console. Fleet is at 70% readiness, sir. All ships are fitted with the new Bennett drive and shield systems. William nodded. For years, Earth had appeared militarily weak to the Council. That had been the plan. While diplomats like Frank Morgan kept the aliens distracted with talks and minor concessions, Earth's true military strength grew in secret. And the colony defenses? Complete on Alpha Centauri and Tau Ceti, Lisa replied. Procyon will be finished next week. On Earth, President Eleanor Hayes addressed the global parliament. The room was packed with representatives from every nation. 6 months ago, we withdrew from the Galactic Council, she said. Today, I can report that Operation Silent Treatment is working exactly as planned. Behind her, screens showed incoming messages from across the galaxy. Hundreds of alien civilizations begging for Earth to resume trade. The Council believed they could control us through unfair agreements and threats. Eleanor continued. They didn't realize how much they had come to depend on human ingenuity and human labor. In his laboratory, Alan Bennett worked with a team of scientists. The room hummed with the energy of his new fusion reactor. It was smaller than a car but produced enough power to run a small city. The latest tests show the efficiency is even better than we thought, said his colleague, Maria Dias. The aliens have nothing like this. Alan nodded. And they never will, unless they learn to treat us as equals. At a military outpost on the edge of the solar system, Olivia Reeves monitored alien communications. Her team intercepted and decoded thousands of messages daily. Look at this, said her analyst, John Peters. The Krell are pulling their battle fleet from the Gamma sector. They're rushing home. Olivia frowned. That's the 3rd major fleet movement this week. Something's happening out there. She pulled up the file she'd been building since the Council meeting. More references to the Void appeared in alien communications, always with patterns of fear and urgency. On Centauri Prime, the Council called an emergency session. The Vrax Emperor himself attended, breaking a 1,000-year tradition. The humans must be brought back, he said. His voice echoed in the chamber. We need their technology now. The Meridian Trade Minister's antennae quivered. They ignore all our messages. We've offered triple payment for their goods. Then offer more, hissed the Emperor. The Void Swarm has breached the outer defense line. Without human help, we have less than 1 standard year before they reach core systems. In the darkness between stars, something moved. A vast shadow, consuming light and matter. It sensed the civilizations ahead and accelerated. Back on Earth, Frank Morgan reviewed Olivia's reports. His face grew grim as he connected the dots. We left the talks just in time, he told President Hayes. But I don't think any of us understood what we were actually preparing for. 1 year after Earth's withdrawal, the galaxy faced a crisis no one had predicted. On the Vrax homeworld, the central power grid failed. Massive cities fell dark. Life support systems switched to emergency backup power that would last only days, not weeks. Similar problems spread across Council space like a virus. Jump gates flickered and shut down. Communication networks developed strange errors. Terraforming equipment on colony worlds stopped working. The Council races had never realized a simple truth. Humans had become the maintenance crew for the galaxy. They can't fix anything. said Frank Morgan, watching reports flow in. He sat with President Hayes in the White House Situation Room. Their own technology is breaking down without our engineers. President Hayes nodded. It seems humans were better at understanding their systems than they were. We adapted their technology, improved it, then maintained it, Frank replied, without ever getting proper credit. A chime sounded. The wall screen activated to show Commander Daniels aboard the Northern Light *. Madam President, we have activity at the edge of the system, he reported. 3 Krell warships just jumped in. Everyone tensed. The Krell were the Council's military muscle. Are they attacking? Asked President Hayes. No, ma'am. They're maintaining position just beyond Neptune's orbit. They're broadcasting a request to enter the system under a flag of truce. Frank and Eleanor exchanged glances. Let them approach as far as the Mars defense perimeter, the president ordered. But keep weapons ready. In her lab on Luna Base, Dr. Catherine Wells made a discovery. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, she had been studying alien biological samples for years. Today, she found something disturbing. Look at these cell structures, she told her assistant, Ben Howard. These samples from Council worlds show microscopic damage patterns I've never seen before. Ben leaned closer to the display. What causes it? Some kind of energy field that breaks down organic matter at the cellular level, Catherine said. And it's recent. These patterns weren't in samples from 2 years ago. On the bridge of the Northern Light *, William Daniels faced the Krell Admiral on the communication screen. The alien's fish-like face showed clear signs of stress. Its gill slits pulsed rapidly. We request immediate technical assistance, the Krell said, skipping all diplomatic pleasantries. Our life support systems are failing across all our worlds. I thought Krell technology was superior to human engineering, William replied calmly. The Krell's eyes blinked vertically. There is no time for pride. Your people maintained key components we cannot repair ourselves. And why would we help you now? The Krell hesitated. Because the alternative is worse. For all of us. In the White House, Olivia Reeves presented her findings to the president. I've compiled all references to the Void Swarm from intercepted communications, she said. It appears to be an ancient threat that returns to the galaxy every few thousand years. She displayed a star map showing a dark area spreading inward from the galactic rim. The Council knew it was coming. That's why they wanted our resources, not just to exploit us, but to prepare for this. Frank studied the map, and they never thought to warn us. Worse, said Olivia. Some communications suggest they considered using Earth as a buffer, a sacrifice to slow down the swarm while they fortified their core worlds. President Hayes stood up. So they planned to throw us to the wolves. And now they need us, Frank added. Not just for repairs, Catherine Wells said, joining the conversation via video link from her lab. I believe this void swarm emits an energy field that breaks down living tissue. The Council races are already showing cellular damage from exposure. Can we stop it? Asked the president. Catherine hesitated. Possibly. The energy signature is similar to what Alan's fusion catalyst produces, but in reverse, if we could adapt his technology. Then the very breakthrough we kept hidden from the Council might save the galaxy, Frank finished, including them. Out beyond Neptune, more alien ships arrived, desperate for human help. The neutral space station Omega floated at the halfway point between Earth's defense perimeter and the gathering alien fleet. Inside its conference room, Frank Morgan waited as alien representatives arrived one by one. Never thought I'd see the day, he said quietly to Olivia Reeves. The mighty Council coming to us. The doors slid open. First came the Vrax ambassador, his scales dull from stress. Next entered the Meridian Trade Minister, antennae drooping. The Krell Admiral followed, gill slits barely moving. Representatives from 12 other species filed in behind them. Olivia noted their body language. They're terrified, she whispered. Frank nodded. Good. When all were seated, Frank remained standing. You wanted to talk. So talk. The Vrax ambassador spoke first. Humanity has proven more essential than we anticipated. We propose reinstating Earth into the Council with improved trade terms. Frank didn't blink. Not interested. The aliens exchanged worried glances. Perhaps full resource autonomy. Offered the Meridian. Your mining rights would be completely independent. Still not interested, Frank replied. We're doing fine on our own. The Krell Admiral slammed a webbed hand on the table. You don't understand. The Void Swarm has already consumed 3 outer systems. Billions dead. Frank's expression hardened. And you hid this threat from us. You were going to use Earth as a buffer while you escaped to your core worlds. The room went silent. The aliens looked stunned. How did you? Began the Vrax. We have our ways. Olivia cut in. She activated a holographic display showing intercepted communications. These orders from the Council Inner Circle were quite clear about Earth's intended role as a sacrifice. Back on Earth, President Hayes addressed the global parliament. We have confirmed the existence of the Void Swarm, she said. This threat is real and approaching rapidly. But we also confirmed the Council's betrayal. They knew about this danger and chose to keep us ignorant while planning to use our world as a shield. Angry shouts filled the chamber. The president raised her hand for silence. However, Dr. Wells and her team believe Alan Bennett's fusion catalyst technology can be modified to create a defense against the swarm. In his laboratory, Alan worked day and night with Catherine Wells. Their teams merged, testing how the fusion energy might counteract the Void's cellular breakdown effect. It's working, Catherine said, examining cellular samples under a microscope. The energy field creates a barrier the Void can't penetrate. Elen nodded. But implementation across multiple star systems will require resources we don't have, and time we might not have. At the edge of human space, Commander Daniels dispatched small, fast scout ships. Your mission is simple, he told the pilots. Get as close to the Void Swarm as safely possible. Record everything. We need to know exactly what we're facing. The lead pilot, Nina Carson, saluted. We'll bring back the data, sir. On the Omega station, the negotiations took an unexpected turn when a new ship docked. Its design was different from any known Council vessel. Who's this? Frank asked as the doors opened again. A small gray-skinned alien entered alone. The Council representatives looked shocked. The archivist whispered the Meridian, antennae quivering. The small alien approached Frank. I am keeper of records for the old worlds, those who faced the Void Swarm in cycles past. Frank's eyes narrowed. And where have you been all this time? Watching. Learning if humanity would prove worthy of the knowledge we possess. The archivist looked around the room at the council members. Unlike these species who were judged and found wanting. Olivia stepped forward. You knew about Earth. About humans. We have observed your kind since your first steps into space, said the archivist. Your adaptability is unique. Your technology, especially this fusion catalyst, could be the key to defeating the Void permanently, not merely delaying it as has been done in cycles past. Frank exchanged looks with Olivia. The situation had just become much more complex. I think, Frank said slowly, we need to bring you to Earth immediately. For the first time in galactic history, alien leaders gathered on Earth. The United Nations Assembly Hall in New York had been transformed for the occasion. Screens displayed real-time translations in dozens of languages. Security was tight, with Olivia Reeves personally overseeing every detail. President Hayes sat at the head of the massive table. Frank Morgan stood at her right. To her left sat Alan Bennett and Catherine Wells. Welcome to Earth, the president said. A planet many of you never thought you would visit. The Vrax Emperor himself had come, an unprecedented event. His golden scales caught the light as he bowed his head slightly. We acknowledge the gravity of this moment, he said. The massive Krell war chief rumbled. Time wastes. The void swarm consumes another system even as we speak. President Hayes nodded to Alan. Dr. Bennett, please explain your findings. Alan stood and activated a holographic display showing complex energy patterns. Our fusion catalyst creates an energy field that directly counters the void swarm's cellular breakdown effect. He explained in simple terms. We can build generators to project this field around planets, ships, even entire star systems with enough power. But Catherine added, standing next to him, implementation on a galactic scale requires resources and coordination we don't currently have. The archivist, who had been silent until now, spoke up. In past cycles, the void was merely pushed back to the outer darkness. It always returns. Your technology might end the cycle permanently. The Meridian Trade Minister's antennae twitched nervously. The cost to implement this across all our worlds would be astronomical. Yes, Frank said with a small smile. It would be. President Hayes placed a data tablet on the table. This is the Solar Concordat, our terms for saving the galaxy. The aliens looked at each other uneasily. What terms? Asked the Vrax Emperor. First, Earth and all human colonies gain complete independence and sovereignty, the President said. Second, a full accounting of all resources taken from human worlds, with fair compensation to be paid. The Krell war chief hissed. You would haggle while worlds burn. Third, President Hayes continued, ignoring him. Humanity receives a permanent seat on the Council's inner circle, with equal voting rights on all galactic matters. Impossible, the Vrax Emperor said. The inner circle has remained unchanged for 10,000 years. The archivist made a sound like dry leaves rustling. Laughter. And look where that has led you. Frank stepped forward. Fourth, and most importantly, full disclosure of all historical records related to the Void Swarm and any other galactic threats you've been hiding from us. Silence fell across the room. The alien representatives looked trapped. On the view screens around the hall, emergency signals began flashing. A communications officer rushed to the President's side. Scout ships returning from the edge of the Procyon system. Madam President, the Void Swarm has accelerated. New estimated arrival time at the nearest Council core world is 3 months, not 6. Murmurs of panic spread among the aliens. The Vrax Emperor stood. We accept your terms. All of them. Frank pushed. All of them. The Emperor confirmed, scales fading to a pale color that indicated fear in his species. President Hayes nodded and handed him a stylus. Then let's make it official. As the Emperor signed the tablet, Nina Carson, the lead scout pilot, entered the hall. Her uniform was torn and dirty. Her face showed exhaustion. Madam President, she said, voice shaking. I've seen it. The Void Swarm. She activated her personal communicator, projecting images that made everyone in the room gasp. The images showed vast, dark shapes moving through space, consuming everything in their path. Stars dimmed as they passed. Planets crumbled. This isn't just an invasion force, Nina said. It's like nothing we've ever encountered. Ellen studied the images closely. We need to move faster with the implementation, he said. Much faster. The archivist approached him. With your permission, I have knowledge that might help. At this point, President Hayes said, we'll take all the help we can get. Outside the UN building, crowds gathered. Humans and the few aliens who lived on Earth watched the news broadcasts together. For the first time, they shared a common purpose: survival. The next month passed in a blur of activity. Earth became the center of the galaxy's largest engineering project ever attempted. On the Moon, massive factories worked around the clock, producing Bennett field generators. Ships from every Council race arrived hourly, carrying raw materials and departing with the precious devices that might save their worlds. Commander William Daniels oversaw the operation from the orbital command station. Below him, Earth glowed blue and green. surrounded by thousands of ships that formed a spectacular light display visible from the surface at night. "Status report," he called out. Lisa Johnson looked up from her console. "Deployment teams report success on all 14 primary targets, sir. The shield networks are operational in the Proxima, Ta Ceti, and Epsilon Eridani systems." William nodded. "And the Void Swarm?" "Still advancing, but we've successfully evacuated 8 systems in its path." What amazed William most was how quickly the aliens had adapted to taking orders from humans. Former enemies now worked side by side with Earth's engineers, following human designs and human leadership without question. On a Vrax colony world called Shervex, Alan Bennett personally supervised the installation of the largest generator network. The planet's 3 suns created unique energy conditions that made it the perfect testing ground. "Power levels stable," reported his Vrax assistant, a young engineer named Zaltor. "Field strength at 100%. Alan checked the readings himself. "Good work. Begin the expansion sequence." The massive generators hummed louder. Above them, the sky seemed to ripple as an invisible shield expanded outward, eventually encompassing the entire planet. Zaltor's scales shifted to a blue color, indicating respect. "I never thought I would say this to a human, but thank you." Alan looked surprised. "For what?" "For helping us despite how we treated your people." Alan shrugged. "That's just who we are." In deep space, Dr. Catherine Wells led a different kind of mission. With the Archivist's guidance, her research vessel approached the edge of the Void Swarm. The ship was specially equipped with Bennett field protection and advanced sensors. "Are you certain this is safe?" Catherine asked, looking at the darkness ahead. The Archivist nodded. "Your shields will hold. We must collect samples if we are to understand the swarm's true nature." As they drew closer, the sensors revealed something unexpected. "These readings can't be right," said Ben Howard, checking the equipment. "It's showing biological patterns within the void." Catherine's eyes widened. "It's alive. The whole thing." "Not alive as you understand it," the Archivist said, "but not merely a force of nature either. The Void Swarm is aware." The ship shuddered as they passed into the outer tendrils of darkness. Through the viewport, Catherine saw stars disappearing as the blackness consumed their light. The sample collector extended from the ship, gathering particles of the strange dark matter. As it retracted, Catherine felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. "We need to get this back to Earth immediately," she said. On the Meridian homeworld, Olivia Reeves made a disturbing discovery. While overseeing SHIELD installation, she gained access to ancient records hidden deep in their archives. "The Council has encountered the Void Swarm 5 times before," she told Frank Morgan via secure channel. "Each time they sacrificed outer worlds to save their core systems." Frank's face on the screen looked grim. "Any mention of Earth in their previous encounters?" "Not Earth specifically," Olivia replied. "But there's reference to seeding potential savior species after each cycle." "Meaning?" "Meaning they might have helped guide human evolution, knowing someday they would need us." Frank was silent for a moment. "Keep digging. We need to know everything before the final confrontation." In the Proxima system, the first real test came sooner than expected. A tendril of the Void Swarm changed direction, heading directly for the human colony world. Commander Daniels watched from the bridge of the Northern Light as the darkness approached the planet. "Activate the shield," he ordered. The Bennett field generators powered up, creating a shimmering bubble around the entire world. The darkness reached the shield and stopped. For the first time in recorded history, the Void Swarm had been halted. The final confrontation took place near the Vrax homeworld. The Void Swarm, as if sensing the threat to its existence, concentrated its full force on this single target. Commander William Daniels stood on the bridge of the Northern Light, now the flagship of the largest fleet ever assembled in the galaxy. Ships from every Council race formed battle groups under human command. "All ships in position," Lisa reported. Bennett field generators at full power. William nodded. Begin the sequence. Across the system, thousands of ships activated their generators simultaneously. The shields linked together, creating an enormous web of energy. On the Vrak's homeworld, Alan Bennett and the archivist monitored the operation from the central control facility. The pattern is correct, said the archivist. Now for the final phase that was never possible before. Alan pressed his hand to the activation panel, initiating pulse sequence. From the planet's surface, a massive beam of energy shot upward, connecting with the shield network. The energy spread, turning the shields from blue to gold. In space, Olivia Reeves watched from the command deck of a Meridian vessel. It's working, she said to Frank Morgan, who stood beside her. The darkness of the void swarm reached the golden shield and began to break apart. Where it touched the energy field, the darkness dissolved, revealing stars behind it once again. The void seemed to sense its danger. It pulled back, concentrating into a single massive shape. It's trying to break through at one point, William said. All ships, reinforce Sector 7. The combined fleet moved with perfect coordination. Human captains gave orders that alien crews followed without hesitation. On Catherine's research vessel, directly behind the shield wall, her instruments detected something strange. The void is changing, she told Ben. These readings suggest it's attempting communication. The darkness pulsed in patterns that the ship's computers began to translate. A voice, unlike any they had heard before, emerged from the speakers. Why resist the inevitability? All orituarans to void. Catherine's hands trembled as she replied. Not today. She activated the special device she and Alan had created based on their research. It sent a focused beam of Bennett energy directly into the heart of the void. The blackness writhed. The voice screamed across all communication channels. What is DAS? What have you doing? We've changed the rules, Catherine answered. The golden shield began to contract, pushing the void inward, compressing it. Where the Bennett energy touched it, the darkness transformed into normal space again. In the control center, Alan watched the readings. It's working. The void entity is being converted back to regular matter and energy. The archivist made a gesture of ancient respect. Your species has done what mine could not in 1,000,000 years. After 6 hours of battle, it was over. Where the void swarm had been, now floated a new nebula of colorful gases and energy, the transformed remains of the ancient threat. 3 months later, the newly reformed Galactic Council held its first meeting in the Grand Hall on Earth. President Hayes stood at the center, addressing representatives from all known species. Today marks a new beginning, she said. The Solar Concordat is now the foundation of our shared future. Frank Morgan, newly appointed as Earth's permanent representative to the Council's inner circle, looked out at the assembly. Species that once looked down on humans now watched with respect and even admiration. The Vrak's emperor himself approached Frank after the ceremony. We were wrong about humans, he admitted. We thought your quick advancement made you dangerous. We never considered that your adaptability might save us all. Frank smiled slightly. Sometimes you need to let someone walk away to understand their true value. On observation decks around Earth, humans watched ships from across the galaxy arrive daily. Not as conquerors or exploiters, but as partners, students, and friends. Olivia stood with Alan, Catherine, and William, looking out at the stars. What do you think happens next? She asked. Alan grinned. That's the best part about humans. We never really know. We just keep adapting. The galaxy had begged. Humanity had answered. And nothing would ever be the same again.